They don't like me in Hollywood.
Why do they not like you in Hollywood?
I don't wear dresses. I don't do that stuff on TV.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress.
Everything went wrong when I put on that dress. Katt Williams was trying to always say, Brandon, don't wear a dress.
But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, why all these brothers gotta wear a dress? This happened to me.
In today's video, we're going to examine Katt Williams' recently published interview. We'll delve into the rumor that stars are asked to wear a dress at a certain point in their careers and explore what supposedly lies behind it. Additionally, we'll discuss the Harvey Weinstein case. Other topics include Dave Chappelle's escape to Africa, Chris Tucker, Michael Jackson, Epstein Island, and an Illuminati meeting between Ludacris and Katt Williams. If you don't want to miss any more videos, subscribe and activate notifications. Mika Williams, also known as Katt Williams, born in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the age of 13, he broke away from his parents, moved to Florida, and became a salesman. He then began his career as a comedian and had become an established figure by 1999. His breakthrough came in 2000s with the film Friday After Next in the role of Money Mike. Since then, Katt has appeared in over 40 films and organized 19 comedy tours. His role in Friday After Next was one of the reasons why he recently gave an interview with Shannon Sharpe. Rick Smiley claimed that he was supposed to get the role of Money Mike. Katt Williams says he's a liar, and that's never happened. Anyone who watches Katt Williams knows that in almost every one of his interviews, he gives information about Hollywood and talks about the dark side of Hollywood. In 2006, in a comedy special, he pointed out questionable events at Hollywood parties and was the first to comment on the disappearance of Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was working on the third season of The Chappelle Show, at the time, came to the settlement, and was told that he would only receive 10% instead of the agreed 50%. He refused and flew to Africa. In any case, after he flew to Africa, many rumors arose. According to Dave Chappelle, the producers of the show spread the rumor that he was addicted and flew to Africa to consume there. Then Katt Williams came on a radio show and defended Dave Chappelle. He claimed that after the producer only wanted to give him 10% instead of the agreed amount, Dave Chappelle asked what he think his fans would say if they found out that they were ripping him off. The producer replied, "By the time you get home, people will think you're a crazy crackhead." And that's exactly what happened.
They said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on the flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so.
After his return, Chappelle claimed that money wasn't the only reason for his escape. They tried to put him in a dress and portray him as crazy in order to give him psychotropic medication to control. And he mentioned that he had observed a trend in Hollywood where black artists often find themselves wearing dresses before advancing to the next level. We'll delve into the reasons shortly. This phenomenon isn't exclusive to black artists.
I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career. I'll be connecting them down like, why all these brothers gotta wear a dress? This happened to me. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. The people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on.
In his recent interview, Katt Williams said they wanted to put him in a dress too. Martin Lawrence proposed a role for him, envisioning them as police officers working together. Katt Williams initially anticipated something akin to Bad Boys, but Lawrence offered him a part in Big Mama's House too. For those unfamiliar, Big Mama's House features a police officer who goes undercover disguised as a woman to solve crimes. Katt Williams was taken aback when Lawrence pitched the role to him. He declined it and, in frustration, suggested Brandon T. Jackson as an alternative, a decision that eventually came to fruition.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Katt, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner, you my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We gonna do it together. We gonna do some buddy cop shit. You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House too. I almost died. Why do we need to be in a dress? And I get so mad, I say, you don't want me. You want Brandon T. Jackson. And that's who they went and got.
During that time, Brandon T. Jackson recounted in an interview how Katt Williams had cautioned him against wearing the dress. He first thought that Katt Williams wants to put him down somehow, but later he realized that he was actually just warning him. Jackson even believes that there is something spiritual behind this whole dress ritual. He claims that he felt cursed afterward. He also says that Martin Lawrence also, after he put on the dress, wasn't the same anymore.
Only Katt Williams. Katt Williams was trying to always say, Brandon, don't wear a dress. I was cursed by it. I believe it was a curse that went with that personally, because nothing went right since then. That's truthful. No one can tell me, hey man, you thinking too much, man. You sit down, man. Everything went wrong. Just like everything went right. Everything went wrong when I put on that dress. Even with Martin, things went wrong when he did it too, because Martin is very anointed. Martin is a very strong man. And Dave Chappelle said that too. He says things about that too. But something's changed.
No, he definitely had like a lot of fire.
Honestly, I think it's a spiritual thing, but everyone has their own journey. I can't say what it is. I don't know. I think, for me, I can only speak for my journey. Once I put the dress on and I had that fire was put out.
There's a lot of speculation about the topic of why men have to wear women's clothes. Not only black artists, but also white entertainers have to put on dresses. Let's look at two different stories why somebody should do something like that. The first claim is that it has something to do with the gay mafia in entertainment. They want to desensitize people to men in women's clothing, and they try to normalize the whole thing. When you look at all this entertainment, whether music or film, the roles are reversed. Men are portrayed as feminine and have feminine characteristics, while women are portrayed as masculine and have masculine characteristics. And as Brandon T. Jackson said earlier, you want to emasculate these people. The actor Tommy Lister addressed this topic about 30 years ago. He passed away in 2020.
I'm the most feared man in Hollywood. They don't like me in Hollywood.
Why do they not like you in Hollywood?
I don't wear dresses. I don't do that gay stuff on TV. You had to get some other black person to do that stuff. I'm talking, that's gunning. So I play tough guys, but young kids want to be soldiers. Young kids don't want to follow a guy to wear a dress. You know what I'm talking about.
Another perspective is that this type of humiliation ritual is also known as hazing, a practice commonly associated with college fraternities. Many of you may be familiar with at least one film where you have seen it depicted, albeit in a different form. This ritual is often conducted before one can join a college association. I'll illustrate with two short scenes from the films So High and The Prince of Bel-Air so that you can understand exactly what is meant.
That's toilet water. It's a part of my pledge. Do you guys mind?
No.
Your pledge leader. Attention, busters! I hope you like your new uniforms. You will be wearing them for a week. It looks like to me our floor needs a little scrub. And a wax and a polish too, I might add. It's a good idea, Pledge Banks. Pledges, get busy.
Before you can join an American college association, you typically have to undergo an initiation ritual, often several times. In most cases, these rituals involve something humiliating, as seen in the previous clip: drinking toilet water, cleaning the underpants of association members, and other similarly degrading tasks. For instance, at Skull and Bones, a secret society whose members include figures like George Bush, initiates undergo rigorous and often humiliating rites. It is said to be lying naked in a coffin with men, for example, telling each other secrets and masturbation. And this is not a conspiracy theory, but an article in the Washington Post today. As the article says, things should be more civilized, but many people doubt that something similar should be the case with this dress ritual. And this is done for several reasons. First, you want to see whether the applicant is really serious and has any moral rules or principles. You should also build a psychological bond. And you also want to see whether the applicant follows orders and does what he is told, no matter what it is. The rapper Smart once addressed this topic. He also claims that before you are allowed into the next level of success, you first go through an initiation ritual.
You gotta look at what's going on so you understand the purpose of it. Yeah. Yes, if you're in a fraternity, right? Or you're in the army, or you whatever it is, there's levels. Mm-hmm. You can't get, if you're a police officer, a sergeant, they got stripes on it, you know what I mean? Yeah. They got stripes for reasons. Them bars represents years, nigga. Mm-hmm. You heard? Yeah. So in order for you to climb this ladder, every ladder of success, there's a level of hazing attached to it. These are the rituals because that's their ritual. That's the rite of passage to get to the next level of witchcraft, magic, or whatever that is.
Katt claimed also that he and the rapper Ludacris were invited to what he called an Illuminati thing. He also hints at the topic of hazing. As we discussed earlier, there are different types of hazing. Of course, not every man who is asked to put on a dress would do it. For some rappers, for example, that would damage their image. They would lose influence and would actually no longer be of any use. That's why there is another form of hazing. For example, sacrificing something that you love, and that doesn't necessarily mean a person. Katt Williams says that Ludacris had to cut his hair, and then he signed a contract for over $200 million. There's also one very interesting video clip of Ludacris. First, listen to the words of Katt Williams, and then we come to the clip.
Are you related to Luda?
So there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person, they said, was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies.
The interesting thing is that Ludacris himself once mentioned it at an awards ceremony. After winning a Grammy, he said, "So you tell me that I just had to cut my hair to win my Grammy for the best rap album?" It could indeed be viewed as coincidental, but it's striking that Katt Williams mentioned the hair-related aspect, and Ludacris referred to it as well in connection with success.
So y'all telling me all I had to do was cut my hair to win the best rap album? That's what y'all telling me? Huh?
Katt implied that his sole aim in Hollywood was to have never sucked a penis, hinting that in Hollywood, everyone at some point may have to engage in unconventional practices to maintain their status or advance to the next level. In response to Katt Williams, Ludacris asserted that he is not part of the Illuminati, and regarding the compromising implication, he stated that he always left his parties with women.
When I was born, never been Illuminati, only a Ludinati, and I only left with bitches when coming from any party. Now I'm...
There are interesting shots featuring Ludacris with the producer Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was previously mentioned in the Will Smith video. Professor Griff from Public Enemy claimed that Will Smith had a relationship with the producers, Quincy Jones and Benny Medina, for the role of the Prince of Bel-Air. Recordings have surfaced that some interpret similarly, but between Quincy and Ludacris. Normally, you wouldn't think anything wrong if someone held his hand like that. He sat next to each other, and maybe he didn't want to pass over with his right hand. But because of Quincy's past, many now think that it was meant like, "You are my girlfriend." Maybe you can still remember the words from Ali Vegas. He said back then that many of the producers often take the rappers as girlfriends.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these niggas don't be hanging out. These niggas be girlfriends to these niggas.
Yeah, exactly.
They be girlfriends to the bigger niggas. Like,
Yep.
I said, I'm just telling you, like, all right.
Also, he makes a claim that is stranger than the others. Katt Williams said that African-American industry plans get women with certain characteristics. He said part of their program is to get a light-skinned woman who never gives interviews or statements. That apply to 8 artists, too. Later, he indicates that part of this contract is that they always have something against the artist in hand to overthrow him if the wrong things are said. Maybe that is the answer to that question, why they get these women.
If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife that never do an interview.
Oh, man, come on.
Listen, in 20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theory, but I thought Katt Williams said any time they make you into that position, part of that contract is you do understand whenever we want to take you down, we can, right?
Briefly on the subject of industry plans. Industry plans are individuals who appear to have had a conventional rise in the entertainment industry, but this is not the case. You probably know it, when suddenly a rapper's face is everywhere. Their music is playing non-stop, and they get promoted everywhere. Yet you're unsure where they came from. Most likely this artist is an industry plant. Industry plants are artists who haven't followed the typical path to success. Normally, a rapper, for example, releases tracks, builds a following, and if they're talented, a label takes notice and offers a record deal. From there, their success is in their hands. However, industry plants bypass this process. They often secure contracts through connections and may not even possess genuine talent, as they are provided with pre-written material. Essentially, labels skip the talent search by taking anyone, shaping their image, artificially boosting their profile through methods like social media promotion, securing #1 singles, and featuring them in talk shows, radio, and playlists, thus catapulting them to stardom. Bobby Shmurda even claims that there are troll farms that are supposed to give the impression that a certain artist is popular. I'll give you an example. They have a new one artist and nobody knows him. Of course, you need people to comment on his posts and act as if they are his fans. The click numbers also have to be increased because nobody knows him at the beginning. You have to artificially create the hype so that the artist gets noticed, and for this there are entire troll farms that like comments, and of course the number of clicks is constantly kept up. They are, so to speak, fake to the top. At the beginning, the clicks may still be bought, and later some may be bought again if the artist's hype goes down. But these no-name rappers then simply become world stars who become really famous because they are pushed everywhere by the music label. According to Katt Williams' claim, the same thing should happen in the field of comedy. The way it works is that the respective artist then gets a show or a documentary about him. Most of them have a fake promotion story. Many of them claim that they were homeless and made it from the bottom, but the majority of them got into this position through contacts.
He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
Katt Williams also spoke about an encounter with film producer Harvey Weinstein, who asked him in front of his entourage if he could perform oral sex on him.
They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my ass in front of all my people at my agency.
Let's briefly discuss who Harvey Weinstein is. He was an American film producer who founded the production companies Miramax and Weinstein Company. Weinstein produced numerous well-known films from the 1990s, including Kill Bill Volume and Scream, Scary Movie, Lord of the Rings, and many more. On October 10, 2017, Ronan Farrow published an article that exposed events in Hollywood. Initially, 16 women came forward, 13 of whom claimed to have been harassed, and 3 raped by Weinstein. Later, another 96 women alleged instances of sexual assault, while 16 reported rape. In total, there were more than 109 accusations. Some victims reported assaults occurring between 2004 and 2013. Additionally, there is an incriminating audio recording from a sting operation conducted by the New York Police Department's Special Victims Unit in 2015. In the recording, Weinstein can be heard asking the model Amber Gutierrez to enter his bathroom and give him 5 minutes to get dressed. However, it's apparent that he intended more, as Gutierrez mentioned feeling overwhelmed and scared from the previous day's encounter. It's also evident that this was not the first time Weinstein had harassed her, as she confronted him about touching her breast the day before. Weinstein replied that he was used to it.
Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go to the bathroom. Hey, come here. Listen to me.
I want to go downstairs.
I'm not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Please come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my jacket,
Yesterday you touched my breast.
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that. Come on.
Are you used to that?
Yes, come in.
No, but I'm not used to that.
I won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. I won't do anything.
I know, but yesterday was too much.
The guy's coming. I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
I know, but it's kind of like, it's too much for me.
The unbelievable aspect of the story is that actually everyone knew several years before the matter was exposed. It was even joked about several times on television.
Our next presenter starred in Netflix's Bird Box, a movie where people survive by acting like they don't see a thing. Sort of like working for Harvey Weinstein.
So beautiful, Harvey Weinstein has already asked tonight up to his hotel to give him a massage.
5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, please. I'm not afraid of anyone in show business. I turned down intercourse with Harvey Weinstein on no less than 3 occasions out of 5. Look, I get it. I know how former lovers can have a hold over you long after they're gone. In some ways, I'm still pinned under a passed-out Harvey Weinstein, and it's Thanksgiving.
The question that should be asked is why it wasn't exposed beforehand. Everyone knew what was going on. Katt Williams told why. He said, Hollywood is something like a gang that doesn't talk because they profit from the whole thing. They get money to keep quiet about certain topics. In most cases, they have contracts that wouldn't allow them to open their mouths, and many of them are involved in this or other questionable things. That's why everyone keeps their mouth shut, and as soon as someone speaks, they are simply canceled.
You're not afraid about being blackballed again? These are some power people.
What do you mean again? These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. It's a cabal. It's a consortium. They rock with who they rock with, and they don't with who they don't. Only because I've not taken the shortcuts. I've not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves.
However, that doesn't explain why the authorities didn't intervene. It's already been joked about publicly, and the authorities aren't ignorant. When such enormous amounts of money, power, and influence come together in one place, you can be sure that the authorities are paying attention, especially in Hollywood, which is supposedly full of agents. It should have been noticed by someone. It could be that they were still investigating, but they investigated 4 years without finding any evidence. It must have been financed somehow. Some speculate whether Weinstein had the same protection as Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey was caught several times and often drew the attention of investigators. Government officials report that he was often told to stay away from him because he is an agent. That brings us to the last story, namely that the names of Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson appeared in the Epstein documents. This man is said to have been an agent. Pressure devices were used to manipulate the respective people for political goals. Chris Tucker was even asked about it once, and he said he didn't know whose plane it was.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa. And
Yeah.
I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people who was with us.
The question you should ask yourself is why no one has been arrested yet. On this island were everywhere hidden cameras. Many were the size of a pin. They ran 24 hours a day, which means there are recordings of almost everyone, if not everyone. These people are probably still being used as informants or for political goals. Of course, it may also be the case that maybe a few of them were tricked, which means that maybe they really didn't know who the plane belonged to. Imagine you are an influential person, a well-known politician, lawyer, Hollywood star, whatever. You are invited on a flight and you really don't know who the plane belongs to. Nevertheless, they try to blackmail you afterwards. For example, they brought in a child during the flight and took a photo. Who would believe you if you said I was tricked? Nobody. This can be used to blackmail an innocent person. Let's finish with a short part of a Hot Box episode by Mike Tyson and Katt Williams. Many of the things we discussed in today's video were conspiracy theories. A few years ago, a man like Alex Jones talked 10 years ago about this island. People didn't believe him because it's a conspiracy theory, but in the end, everything he claimed about this case was true.
But tell me about your conspiracy, brother. What you believe in? He said you believe in that. What?
I'm never pretending to know the answers to things that I'm going into. I'm going into it trying to find out the answers. So that frees me up, that my ego's not involved in what the answer turns out to be. But we collect information, and there aren't that many conspiracy theories anymore because we found out that all conspiracy theories, there's a nugget of truth in there. It came from somewhere. That's where it became a theory. And then it progressed to the point where it became a conspiracy theory because there was something there.